Okay, changing your rear bushings. It's pretty simple. It's not a very hard job. The hardest bit about it actually is I recommend having 2 jacks for it and 2 axle stands. You can get away with 1 jack. 2 jack just makes getting up the rear of the car a bit less frightening, and that's quite nice. And I will say you can't do this job without 2 axle stands or equivalent. You need something to hold up the rear of the car whilst you're underneath, otherwise it is definitely not safe. For tools wise, we're using some wrenches. I don't know what size, I think roughly ranging from a 15 to a 19, I can't quite remember. Now, I have already done this job, but when I put in my new anti-roll bar, it came with new bushings, poly bushes, and I forgot to grease the bushings. My mistake. So this video, I'm technically not replacing my bushings, but it's the exact same process because I have to get my new bushings back out so I can put new grease on them. My grease is here. It's just simple silicone grease. Now, let's get started. First job is make sure the car is in gear. So we're gonna go around and put it into first gear. Why are we doing that? Because we're raising the rear of the car off of the floor, which means that the handbrake, when it's pulled, won't be able to stop the car rolling around. So you don't really want your car rolling around and toppling itself. So put it into gear. And I always recommend to find something, maybe you've got some bricks, something to wedge underneath the wheels. I'm going to be using these Halfords like folding wheel wedges, but you can use whatever you want. Now I'm just gonna put this down and put them around everywhere. All right. Oh. Now that I've wedged the front wheels and put it into gear, we're ready to start jacking up the rear of the car. Now, I'm going to put 1 jack underneath each side of the car and then slowly jack up each side, and then when at the right height, I will put these axle stands underneath. So let's do that now. I'm not going to walk you through jacking up your car. If you can't jack up your car, then you shouldn't be underneath your car. It's pretty simple. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to raise up the car a bit on this side and a bit on that side, just doing it pretty evenly until I'm happy. Let's just bring this around here. Still on that? Yep, lovely. Let's go up. All right, let's bring the other side up. We don't need to go up that high. We'll just go up a bit on this side. Make sure it's in there properly. Yep. That's probably high enough, to be honest. Now I'm going to take my axle stands. Now on a Mark II TT, on the rear subframe, I'm going to try and show you right now. I put my axle stands on here, if you can make that out. Moving the camera just properly. I put them right here on this little spot here, but anywhere that looks sturdy will be fine. Let's squeeze this underneath, should be, yep, it's more than high enough now. If you can see there, so I didn't do a very good job of filming that, I've got room above. So we're gonna lower it down onto there. It's very dark in there, it's hard to show on camera. All right, let's lower it down. Very carefully. Slowly, does it. Make sure you get it on the center of your axle stand. There we go. Now we're not going to remove the jack because we have a jack on each side of the car, and it just adds another level of protection, because in the extremely rare circumstance that we lose one of the axle stands or the jack, then the other jack or axle stand on that side of the car will be protecting us. So set this axle to the same height as the other one, and then see if it will just magically fit. Oh, it's very close. We have to raise this side of the car a tiny amount. There we go. Now we just got to lower that down. I understand that this is quite hard to see on camera, but it's also quite hard to film, so I'm looking for a very tight gap. Now I'm just gonna make sure that when I adjusted that side, that it doesn't take this side off of this extra stand. It did, there we see. Just have to lower this side down a bit more. It's because of the pivot points, it's perfectly fine. And there we go. Lovely. Now, here comes the slightly worrying part. But if you're a bit scared that your car might still fall, I recommend going up to your car and shaking it around. Side to side, forward to backwards. And give yourself a little bit of confidence that everything is still supported properly. Underneath the car. Oh, it's a bit tight, but it's as good as it's really going to get. Now, I can show you there quite easily. This is your anti-roll bar bracket right there. You see the grey? That's my anti-roll bar, the grey bar, and then the silver bracket is the anti-roll bar bracket. Now, those two bolts, there's one on top, one on bottom, are what hold in the bracket. So we're going to undo those. Now, I can't quite remember what size they are. They look like a 15, but my eyes might deceive me. Let me just go and grab the tool quickly. Upon closer inspection, I think it might be a 13. So I've got a silver socket here with a very long extension on it. Just gonna check with my hand and see if it is actually a 13, and it is a 13. Now, usually I would have the camera on my head, but for undercar jobs like this, it's quite hard having the camera on your head because everything looks quite bad. So I'm gonna hold the camera today for you. I'm gonna be using this long extension because it's too tight in there to actually just get the ratchet wrench in there. So I'm going to use just the extension like this. And now you gotta be very careful, otherwise you might snap off the bolts. You got to turn it quite, oh, knocked over the camera. So you got to turn it quite nicely and smoothly so you don't snap the bolt off in there, which I unfortunately did last time I was working on the anti-roll bar bracket. So just go very nicely, take it off, just like that. Lovely, that one's quite loose. Now the second one, how do we get that one off? That might be the spanner method for that. Let's see if I can fit this ratchet in there. There we go. That's worked. Now I'm going to loosen off the other side before I take this side fully off, just because it's good practice to do so. Now, if your bolts don't have washers on them, I recommend putting the washers on. It might not be strictly needed, but it's always a good idea to have washers on bolts like this. Now, our anti-roll bar is completely loose. Now, I'm hoping to get away. There we go, just pull it down. I'm hoping to get away without actually undoing the drop links, and I think we're getting away. So now, just take the brackets off, just like that. And there we go. Here is your bushing. Now, my bushing is in two parts. No, never mind. No, it's not. I trapped my finger. I'm just sliding it off that way and then bringing it around and unclipping it like that. There you go. There's your bushing. My one is dry and actually doesn't look very happy. It's perfectly fine to go back in. It's just in major need of greasing. Because as the anti-roll bar rotates inside of this bushing, it's not lubed up and it's squeaking at me. So let's just do the same on the other side. Just grab the bushing, slide it along until it comes out without tearing anything. There we go, bushing's out, lovely. Now, I'm gonna go out of the car, out from underneath the car now, and grab the grease. Now, if you're putting in new bushings, they might come with grease already on them, but I don't really know if most do or most don't. My ones didn't, so I'd assume most don't. So you're gonna want some grease. This is silicone grease. It's nothing fancy. It basically just needs to be water resistant and pretty lubricating. Grab the bushing, grab some grease, get your finger in there, and just plop it all around. You want to grease up both sides because both sides rotate slightly. The inner side is going to rotate more, but there'll be micro rotations, I guess, and micro shifts on the position of the bushing actually inside the mount. So it's best just to do both. It's not a bad practice. I'm going to do one side first, and then I'll, grease one side, then put it back in the car, and then I'll do the other side just to avoid having grease all over the floor. I'll try and keep these bushings, once they're greased, off of the floor to just stop any grime and dirt being put into the grease. Okay, so we're back underneath. Just going to do the same as before but in reverse. So slide on the bushing wherever you can on the actual car. Ow, trap my finger again. So take that, force it over, there we go. Try and get a little rust on it as possible. All right, there we go. Then get your mount, your clamp, sorry. Grab that, push it on there. Now I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm gonna do the other side and then I'll lift the entire bar up and bolt it back in. So I do wish that I had a ramp to put my car on. I don't, because I'm not got loads of money and space, but it would be so much nicer and easier to do jobs like this, to just put the car on the ramp than having to crawl around underneath the car. There you go. Right, same thing as before. I'm not going to film it this time just so I try and not get any grease on the camera, because so far I've avoided putting grease on the camera. Just go back underneath, slide this on the anti-roll bar, put the bracket back on, and I'll get back to you when I'm ready to bolt the bracket back in. Now all we're going to do is put the bolts back inside of the bracket and bolt everything up. Now, gonna lift, and find the bolt location. Now, put your bolt in first, obviously, then tighten it up, but tighten it up quite loosely so that you can still slide the bracket up and down, because you need your bracket to be basically level on each side. And then I think what we'll do is we'll lower the car to the floor completely. I have just enough room to climb underneath. If you don't, you might want to put blocks underneath the wheel or something, and then it will tighten it up fully. Whew, let's do the other side now. There we go. That went straight in, lovely. Now this bottom bolt here is the one that I fucked effectively last time by snapping the bolt when I was taking off the anti-roll bar. That was a huge job. I spent so long having to drill out the old bolt, and it's in a really weird, awkward position. So I had to take this, I believe it's called an A-arm or something. I had to take this rear lower arm off and then drill it out. It was an awful job. So please do just be careful when taking out old bolts. They do like to snap, especially like 13 and 12 mils, because they're not big enough to be super strong, but they're just big enough to rust in an awkward way. Okay, lovely. Can I still move that up and down? Yep. Okay, so I'm going to now lower the car down. This will go to its natural position it wants to be in, and then we will come back and tighten everything. You guys want to see some puppies? I was just washing my hands to get some of the grease off, and here they are. Hello, Yogi. You're the prettiest boy. Now, back to the car. I've put the car on the ground. Very quickly, we're going to just roll the car backwards and forwards. So remove the stops that you have on the wheels. The only reason we're rolling it backwards and forwards is so that the rear wheels settle to their proper angle and camber and whatnot. It probably isn't actually necessary, but I'm doing it just because it can't hurt. So just pop in the car. Remember that the car is actually in gear, so don't just set off. Let's start the car up. I've also got some light bulbs that need attention. Well, not really light bulbs, more wiring. Oh, Bailey. Hello. Move, Bailey. Inside. Inside. There you go, rolled around a little bit there. That'll be enough. Listen to the sweet sound of a four-cylinder inline engine. Bailey, inside. Inside, mister. Go inside. You know you're not allowed out here. Come on. I'm busy. I'm recording for people on the internet so they know how to do jobs on their car. There we go. Lovely. Now, back to the car. Now, it's going to be a tight squeeze, but it is possible in my car. So all you're going to do is grab your acquired tools, mine is this, crawl underneath the car, and hopefully be able to do up everything, because it should have settled into the correct place. God, this is a very tight squeeze. I don't even know if I can get the camera set up in here. We'll do it, but I can't promise it's going to be the best view ever. This is impossible to do. I have to record it and fucking do it. God, I need a full team of people to do this, and I'm doing this on my own. God. Also, Alex could never. Oh. I just keep tightening until it clicks. Oh, God, that's very tight. This is very hard to do upside down. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's tight. Like, it's not actually that tight, it's just I'm upside down. And this is very hard to do upside down. Oh, that's quite tight. Oh, that's as tight as that's going to need to be. There's no way it needs to be tighter than that. Oh. I'm not a weak guy, I'm decently strong. This is just very hard to do upside down with your arms fully extended. That's as tight as that's going to need to be. I don't want to snap a bolt, because I'm also realising I'm not doing this at the straightest angle. It's impossible to tell what a straight angle is. Okay, now the other side. I wonder what the audio for this video sounds like. I'm underneath a car next to my exhaust. There you go. You get to see my ugly mug whilst I do this. There you go, that's as good as you're gonna get. Oh. On the top of my head at least, because there's no other way for me to do it. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's tight. Let's do it the other way. Don't bother lowering your car to the ground to do this. Just do it in the air. I only did it because I don't know if it's actually necessary, and if it is, I want to get it done. Like, doing it down here won't do any harm, but I don't know if it's also doing any good, if you know what I mean. That feels pretty damn tight. It's got to be tight, right? Yeah. All right. I'm going to call it there. So, I think that is rear anti-roll bar bushings either changed if you're doing this at home or re-greased. So, I'm going to clear up my tools. I'm going to say goodbye. And I hope this helped if you needed it to, or maybe it was just entertaining to watch me struggle. Anyway, thank you.